Hello, and welcome back to What We Pod in the Shadows, where we are currently discussing Season 2 of What We Do in the Shadows. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
This week we're talking about the episode Colin's Promotion. And before we get into the episode, just a reminder, or a request rather, that if you haven't already, subscribe or follow the podcast on whatever podcatcher you're listening to this on, and leave us a review if you have been enjoying the podcast. It could help us get more listeners, and it's just nice to get some feedback.
And we will read a few of them on the show, and check us out on social media like Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram. Also, you can follow us on there too. Okay, so Colin's promotion. Colin likes to mess around with equipment at work, near coworkers, and clear his throat over and over to get energy from them. He is called into Laura the boss's office, and Colin fears they have found out he doesn't even know what the company does. It turns out they want to give him a promotion, but he doesn't want to miss out on time with his roommates because coworkers die, but vampires are forever. At home, the vampires are rearranging artwork, bringing out stuff they haven't displayed in a while. Colin comes home and asks them if they need any help, and they are all very short and rude to him, telling him to just go to his basement bedroom.
Colin is sad because as an energy vampire, people can't tell when he's being sincere or actually wants comfort. He says he drains to live, but doesn't live to drain. He gets an assistant named Joanna as part of his promotion and makes her make random copies of stuff. Colin says he finally figured out what they do for work. Playground marketing design or landmine design and manufacturing. Two wildly different things. He has to give his first presentation and pretends to have trouble with the slideshow, but his underlings laugh and agree with him no matter what he does, which he is not used to. He says maybe rappers are right, maybe it is good to be a boss. He also says he feels like he has the power of 1,000 cowboys, and he dents and punches the bathroom trash can. When another worker comes in, he says not to sit on it because it was damaged by 2 other people sitting on it.
He realizes at home he is treated as an inferior, but at work he is a superior. He calls on those he supervises at work one-on-one for drain on demand. So he'll either call him into the office or he calls him up on the office phone. And like the one guy, he's asking him what kind of tree would he be, and then he made him write an essay. Like, why did you choose maple? Colin comes home and Nadja asks about his day, but he says he's making phone calls. Nadja offers for him to pick a piece of art, and he brings forth a landscape of a town on fire that Nadja recognizes. It is her village being destroyed, and it was Nandor that destroyed it. Colin is enjoying this exchange. Nadja wants to kill Nandor and wear him as a dress, and also rip every hair from his body, but Laszlo holds her back.
Colin drains energy during conference calls and gains so much energy that his hair grows back, and he can even drain people with a single phrase or by making finger guns, causing everyone to collapse at work. Guillermo tries to mediate the argument between Nandor and Nadja, but Nandor is very nonchalant about the whole thing, saying he was doing his job and the invasion was just 200 guys having fun. Guillermo realizes that Colin started this fight by dragging out the painting, and he's using it to drain them all. Colin is now so powerful that he can fly.
Yeah, he's sort of like swimming down the hallway at one point. They have been drained so much they can barely move or talk and contemplate eating Guillermo. It is revealed that Colin came with the house. He has grown so powerful that he just walks in the door and they have no hope. Nadja tries to get Colin to make a list so they can make their escape. She comes upon him in the bathroom where he appears to be shaving his very large head and asks him about the people he works with. She tries to walk away, but he makes her stay and listen, and when she gets back to the library, she looks a lot older, but so do Nandor and Laszlo.
Yeah, at this point, they've all pretty much accepted their fates to die in the house. They ask Colin to stop draining them because they're his only friends, but he's like friends would listen to friends about their promotions. The others encourage Guillermo to leave to save himself, but when he goes for the door, Colin creates 2 duplicates of himself, blocking Guillermo's way out. The duplicates start draining them all together, and Colin says that he doesn't need them to be his friends when he has them. They start arguing amongst themselves about boring minutiae and draining each other for hours until they finally bore themselves to death. They drag the Collins into the garden to bury them. Laszlo admits that he was actually interested when Colin told him about 19th century naval battles. Nandor says Colin died trying to achieve power, and Nadja said that Colin was actually a good listener after she and Laszlo had a fight. She goes to bury him with a piece of his artwork because he loved it and they hated it when the original Colin starts to get up. He admits he faked his death just to hear his eulogy, and he knew that they liked him all along. The duplicates, however, stay dead, and Guillermo buries them.
Colin starts a new job because the other job was in financial ruin because no one could work after being drained. At the new job, he hasn't actually been hired, but is going to find an empty cubicle and settle in. He starts clearing his throat over and over and feeding. Laszlo fixes the painting, the one with Nadja's village, by adding himself and Nadja and saying Nandor is in a burning building.
Yeah, Nandor says he doesn't like that, but Nadja says it was pretty rude of him to burn down her family's village.
Yeah, just saying, like, 200 guys having fun. Like, okay.
I'm like, sir, I will strangle you myself for saying.
I'm just not sure. Like, he's one of the on the goofier side, and like him being a conqueror. I'm just not sure I quite believe it, but
yeah.
So I guess it's sort of a weird situation, him living with them, and like he does feed off of them, whether it's a situation where he's kind of forcing it or not, like kind of either boring them with stories or like trying to cause conflict. But I mean, they don't feed off of him, so it's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, it is sort of a weird dynamic.
Yeah. And I kind of did, and maybe you did too, suspect like he doesn't even work at these places. He just, and again, like how do they have money? Like he does have like that, his Funko collection. Like he's got that one secret room with like almost like a vault.
Right.
Unless that was, I don't know. Like
that was in season 6, so I don't know like when he had that or if he's had it all along.
Well, or even like he just got his license, right? And he bought a convertible. So it's like there's some money somewhere and they're not sharing it with Guillermo anyway. But I'm like, does he I mean, it seems like at that job at the beginning of the episode, he was a real employee. So at some point, like how does he, once you've already infiltrated, aren't they like, oh, I thought you worked here. Unless he just adds some, like, if he's good enough with computers, like, he can, like, hack it and, like, maybe he checks it out for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And make sure he likes it.
Cases the joint first.
And, like, is this going to be a good place for him long term? And then he goes in and, like, adds himself to the payroll or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I would think some people would be like, oh, I didn't know we were getting a new person. And then usually you're training for like a week or two with someone. So how is he not? I'm sure he's like draining the people around him, but how is he not being reported? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, who's this strange bald man?
I liked the clearing the throat, driving people nuts with that. Well, and can I get you a lozenge? It was kind of sweet too, where he didn't want to be the boss because he thought it would take away time. Because he does consider them friends. Like, it would take away time with his roommates. And it's like they didn't care. Or they don't think of him that way. And then the picture, like, that they had buried him with, I don't know if it was like he created it on a tablet or something, but it was like a picture of all of them that he had created. And they didn't even want to hang it up or...
Yeah.
I guess he could have hung it in his room or something, but...
I liked that Laszlo said that he invented photobombing. They have like him in this, I think maybe it was like a Civil War painting, and then he's like doing the rabbit ears to like a dead guy.
Yeah. It kind of seemed like Nadja was the biggest one to kind of like dismiss him.
Yeah.
But then it's like, when he did get the promotion and come home, she did try to ask him questions, but I think at that point he was kind of done because it was like, oh,
Yeah.
They treat me better at work in a way than they do at home. And he was even calling some of those poor people from work and just like bugging them even after hours. Like he was like, "Are you on the way to work? Can you get to work?" Like there was something important for them to do, but he just kept asking this person a bunch of questions. And yeah, I don't know if I could live with the person that burnt my village.
Yeah, I know it was like supposed to be like a couple hundred years before she was born, but still, that would be like me hanging out with Andrew Jackson.
Yeah. Yes. I think Nadja said something too about like, was it that they killed all the healthy people? So it was like the only people left were like, didn't it make deformed? Like all the people going forward were like deformed and
Yeah, I think she said like the weakest and people with like the softest brains is I think how she phrased it.
it's like, well, wouldn't she be a part of that? Because she
Yeah.
would have been a descendant. It's like the timeline of like just when they met and like how close they were in proximity is a little confusing. I mean, I guess Nandor went around conquering a bunch of areas or whatever, but
Indeed.
I did like when he could drain with like just saying like a single phrase, like the TGIF or like you said the finger guns, or I think he even just said "What's up."
Yeah. I was like, the finger gun's not cool to do anymore because I do the finger gun.
And then he even turned and like it looked like drained the cameraman.
Yeah, yes.
So I don't know what it was. It's like, he grew that hair and he was shaving it off, but it's like while he was in the bathroom talking to Nadja, it was like his cranium was enormous.
Yeah, yes.
But then in the next scene, it was like normal sized again. So I don't know what the deal with that was, unless that was just part of him gathering more energy because he just kept getting stronger and stronger. But yeah, I think, like I said, Colin came with the house, but at first they said Naja invited him to live there, and then she's like, "No, Laszlo did," and he's like, "No, he came with the house."
Yeah.
Like kind of weird.
I do feel bad for him. It's like the ways in which they're annoyed and by him and like ignore him. I feel like if I like met a Colin in real life, I probably would assume that he was also like maybe like neurodivergent and maybe he just had like very boring special interests. Like he could tell me the history of screws or something like that.
Yeah.
That like hardly anyone else would be like interested in learning about.
Yeah, it is difficult to, I don't know, maybe they need like a phrase or a safe word or something with him. Like, please cut it out. Stop trying to drain us. Or like,
Yeah.
or like when he's being serious. Or like maybe just a rule that he's not trying to drain them unless, like he absolutely has to. Like he's just super low on energy or something. But they need some sort of discussion about that. Like,
Yeah, there needs to be some boundaries set.
that he wants to be able to come home and be friends with them and tell them about work. That he's not trying to drain them. He wants to have a real conversation. But also that he's not going to like the thing he did with the painting, like start that with them. Because they had no idea. I feel like Nandor, not that this is great of him or anything, but like he just doesn't even remember.
Yeah, I think he said like he was like really drunk or something when they did that. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it has been hundreds of years, and then they probably did so many cities. Not that that's great either, but just like to know specifically that it was her village.
Yeah, what's that one meme? It's like from the Street Fighter movie. I think like for you it was the day that I destroyed your village, but for me it was Tuesday.
And to be clear, like Nadja recognized her village, but also there was like the flag was like the village flag was in the painting. So there was like a match.
Yeah, I think when she like recognized him in the painting too, she's like, who else looks like Persian Frank Zappa or something like that.
It was like that Colin was so powerful that he made more Collins. And then it was funny. It's like, we don't need anyone else. We can be our own best friends. But then I think the one guy was calling them Seaman.
Yeah.
And the other one didn't like that nickname, Seaman. like for Colin. And then, yeah, that they just sort of like bored themselves to death. It's pretty funny. So I'm not sure how original Colin survived it exactly, but
yeah, maybe he's just more powerful than his clones in some way.
And it was nice that they did say nice things about him once they thought he was dead, but I mean, they do need to.
We need to be nice to him while he's alive.
I'm still like unsure, like, does he eat it or drink?
I know he mentioned eating like one time. Like, I think when they were like in season 6, they were like visiting with another vampire. And he had like a blood feast, and he's like, "Could you at least have gotten me like some croissants or something?"
Okay. Because that girl he was dating, they went out to eat, and the waiter was like, "Are you guys gonna eat?" And they're like, "We are feeding," or whatever.
Yeah,
so it's like,
we already are.
Maybe he just doesn't need to eat much because he can suck up energy.
Yeah.
Or he like maybe it's not like how normal people have the need to eat. Maybe he just eats like stuff that he really likes every once in a while. The episode we would be covering next week, episode 6, is called On the Run. So I'm not really sure what that's about.
I think I know which one that is. I won't spoil it for you if you don't
Maybe
remember.
if I saw the little thumbnail, I would remember, but
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll discuss next week. So if you want to keep up with us or what have you, watch that first before we spoil it on the pod.
yeah, so we're here in the United States. It's on FX. In case you're like, well, where can I watch this? And we watch it on Hulu.
But yeah, I think that is everything. So we're probably gonna wrap up here. Thank you so much for listening. And just another reminder that if you haven't already, to subscribe or follow, depending on what it's called on the podcatcher you're listening to this on, and leave us a comment or review.
And also, we have another podcast, Mojo Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, where we're discussing the classic Powerpuff Girls and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We're currently on.
It's technically the first half of season 2, but it is part 3 overall of JoJo. It's Stardust Crusaders, if you need the specific name for the part.
So if you want to check us out on another podcast where we're discussing some animated shows, you can check us out on there.
Yeah. And sometimes on JoJo, we talk about vampires. So that's some more of that. Yeah. I guess all that is left to say is remember, you're dead and out of this world. Goodbye.
Goodbye.